Today I'm with Ethan from Amazing Animal Adventures, and we're going to be going over 4 of the most common reptile myths. So one of the most common things people say when they do not want to touch a snake is that they are slimy, when actually they are not slimy at all. They appear to be slimy because their scales reflect light and look very shiny, which makes them look wet, when this really isn't the case. Amphibians can be slimy, but reptiles are always completely dry.
One of the things I hear very often is, don't toads give you warts? No, toads don't give you warts. Just because they have warts doesn't mean they give you warts. Now I know that this myth has been around for a very long time. It is not true. Toads don't give you warts. I'm not sure where it originated. I know it's very old, that people consider it a wives' tale as opposed to a myth just because of its age. But no, toads don't give you warts. However, you should always wash your hands after a toad because they do carry salmonella, which obviously is a very unpleasant thing to get. So always wash your hands after you handle a toad, not because they will give you warts, but because they do carry other diseases.
So a very common question to hear is whether a snake is poisonous or not, when there actually are no poisonous snakes. Some snakes do carry venom in their fangs, but this is different from poison. There are some poisonous amphibians along with poisonous plants and other things, but poison is when it can be ingested and potentially hurt you. This may be whether you eat something or touch something and then get it into your system, then that's when it's going to harm you. Venomous has to be injected into you, probably into your bloodstream. This is done through snakes and other animals that have fangs.
The last myth we're going to be talking about today this one is actually somewhat controversial, so I'm not sure if it's entirely considered a myth, but I hear all the time that you can't keep more than one different species in the same enclosure. I personally completely disagree. I have a 10-gallon screen cage I built. It has a green anole, a brown anole, and a gray tree frog, and they do absolutely fine together. I've also kept enclosures with toads in them as well as those other animals, and they do absolutely fine. One of the things I strongly recommend is making sure that all the species are from the same region. For instance, brown anoles, green anoles, and the gray tree frogs can all be found hanging out in Florida together, and their conditions needed are exactly the same. In fact, they even all eat the same thing. I'm feeding them all mealworms, so that works really well. Now, there definitely are some species you don't want to keep together, such as different species of snake. It's generally not a good idea to mix species of snake just because of the option of cannibalism, and because snakes often have much more specific needs. Always do your research on them first. Like if you look it up and it turns out that people have tried keeping these together and they don't go well together, they end up eating each other, that's obviously not a good sign. Probably don't keep them together. Also notice the size, because if you have a big toad and a little lizard and keeping them together, the lizard might get eaten by the toad, which isn't really a good thing. So you need to use logic, you need to use common sense, use your brain a little bit. But generally, I think it's okay to keep different species together as long as these different conditions and criteria are met.
Hopefully you learned a couple things and maybe we could debunk just a few of your thoughts on reptiles. I hope you enjoyed. That's it for this video. I'm Alex and this is Ethan from Amazing Animal Adventures. You can find him in the description. And that's it. Thanks for watching.